Hello and welcome to Immigration with Kathia, a show where I, Kathia Quiros, an immigration attorney, will tell you the news about immigration, will answer your questions, but most importantly, I will try to share the love of God, the idea that we are all made perfect and we are all protected by God. So today most of us are probably home and concerned and worried about coronavirus, COVID-19. And if you are an immigrant, you are most concerned because if you are home, you probably don't have any income, you've lost your job. If you are in a house where somebody is trying to fix your papers, you have a wife or a parent who has filed a petition for you, you're asking yourself, how am I gonna do it now with all this public charge thing that it's going on? The public charge is a new regulation that the government has that stops the government from giving a green card to someone who has used public benefits or will use public benefits in the future. So all these things have you very stressed and very worried, on top of worrying about not getting infected with the virus and trying to protect your family. And I understand. I'm in your shoes. Same as you, I'm an immigrant and I am home today working from home, trying to protect my mom, who's an immigrant, and my children. So I totally get it. But today we are gonna talk about what kind of access does an immigrant have to medical care in light of coronavirus. So if you could please help me share the information, I would truly appreciate it, because right now, immigrants are lacking information, and when they are home, the only way we have to get to reach all of them is through social media. So I normally have a show every day in the morning in Spanish, but I have barely started doing it in English. So I beg you to please help me sharing the information. So let's start. If you're an immigrant, you are undocumented, or you have some kind of status, you have an employment authorization because you have filed for asylum, you have TPS, you have an application for adjustment pending, or you're a dreamer, you have DACA. Otherwise, you have a visa, a work visa or an investment visa. In any event, you are an immigrant. And if you have a legal permanent resident card, you are an immigrant too. And so all immigrants are now concerned about the public charge. And the public charge, like I said before, it's a new regulation that will stop the government from giving you a green card if you have used public benefits, or the government believes that you will use public benefits in the future. Okay? So far, so good. If you are following me, please let me know. Write it down. Tell me that, yes, Kathia, I'm getting it. I'm following you, because that way I know that I'm not going crazy. Okay, if you share the show, please put me a thumbs up. Let me know that you already shared the show. So because that really it's all I ask in exchange for doing this. Okay, so we now have this pandemic. It's called the coronavirus, the COVID-19, and we are all concerned about getting it, because if we get it and we have a bad reaction to it, we may end up in the hospital, intubated, because the consequences, the bad reaction to COVID-19 is very serious. It comes with a pulmonary fibrosis, and that is a very serious disease, and we will have intensive care treatment at the hospital. And many immigrants are telling me, Kathia, I don't have the money. I've just lost my job. I'm home right now. Nobody's gonna pay me the next month or two, And if I get sick, how will I end up in the hospital? I mean, okay, so the government, the Department of Immigration has come out and said, look, I know we have the public charge regulation, but if you use any government benefit to treat COVID-19, to treat coronavirus, we are not going to use it against you. It's not going to be a public charge thing because you use the medical care provided by the government for all people affected by coronavirus. So I am hope that I'm being clear to you. If you, at any time, you feel that you may be infected and you go to get tested and nobody asks you for your status and nobody asks you for how much money you make and nobody asks you for money, it means that the government is paying and it means that it's okay. You don't need to worry about public charge because you are getting tested, okay? Now, let's say you get it and you end up in the hospital. And at the hospital, they're not gonna ask you for anything other than your basic information. And if you have medical insurance, great, you can turn in your medical insurance and it'll cover. But if you don't worry about it because it will not be used against you. If you don't have resources to pay your medical bill, most likely you will end up in something called emergency Medicaid, which is government funded and the government will pay the bill. And in this case, it's okay. You can receive all the treatment even though you're an undocumented immigrant. It doesn't matter. It is okay to receive it. You need to receive it. So please don't worry about your papers because you will still be able to get your green card when the time comes. The government will not use the fact that you receive medical care and Medicaid against you at the time of giving you the green card. Am I being clear? If I am being clear, please let me know. Write it down, put me a thumbs up, let me know that you are following what I'm saying. Because I tend to speak very fast. I'm Peruvian, and Peruvians speak very fast. And sometimes my brain goes faster than my mouth. Okay, so remember, we need to share this information and let every immigrant in the United States know that it is okay for us to go to receive testing and the hospital without worrying about public charge. It doesn't matter public charge right now. It's not gonna affect me. If I go and receive medical care, it's not gonna be a public charge. It's not going to be a public charge, okay? And so the most important thing right now is that you receive medical care if you need it. Now, let's say, and that's a question that I've had many times. Okay, Kathia, so I'm undocumented, but my wife is a US citizen and my kids are US citizens. Can they ask for food stamps? Because right now I just lost my job and I don't know when will I get paid again. And we are desperate. And so my wife can access food stamps, but then I will be a public charge. Well, no, you won't be a public charge because you will have a very good excuse in times of an emergency. We do what we have to do. So please, do not stop asking for whatever benefits you need in this time of need, because this time of need, it's under a government order for a national emergency, and the government will not use it against you as a public charge. I will try to do another show as soon as I can. So please stay tuned in English and share it so that we can have more people listening to my explanations about these. I will do another show soon where I will explain each topic of each requirement of the public charge and how under these difficult times, anything that happens will not be used against you, okay? So now I'm gonna start answering questions. Please put your questions in English because this is my English show and I will not talk in Spanish because I have a show in Spanish every day at 8:30 in the morning. It's called Immigrando con Katia. So if you want to ask questions in Spanish, you can do it right there. So let me do this. Hello. Can DACA recipients claim and file for unemployment? Yes. So if you have an employment authorization, whatever it is, you may apply for unemployment benefits. If you are an undocumented immigrant, you may not apply, you cannot, you should not apply for unemployment benefits. Why? Because even though you work and even though they discounted the money for the unemployment, you did not have the legal privilege, the legal ability to work. So we cannot claim unemployment. Plus, at the time you file the application, you either have to be a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident or have an employment authorization. And if you mark something, whatever it is, it's going to be a lie. So you don't want to be committing fraud. So please, if you're undocumented, do not file for unemployment. Let me see. Hello. Is there any other way for the residency to be approved if my petitioner earns less than 125% of the poverty level? Can you ask for another sponsor? Education, assets, health credit is my... Okay, so when the petitioner earns like less than 125%, you can have a co-sponsor for the affidavit of support. And then, aside from that, the immigrant needs to prove that he is not a public charge. And to prove that he is not a public charge, the government wants to see that he makes on top of the federal poverty guidelines, or his household makes more than 125% of the federal poverty guidelines. So it is possible that your petitioner may not makes less, but that you're still able to get your green card because you are not a public charge, because the immigrant makes more or the people in his household makes more. It's a complicated question, Lilian. I hope you understood what I've tried to say, but definitely in these cases, the person needs to have a lawyer who will make all those arguments to the immigration office. Let me see, I keep looking. Sandy says, always sharing your information. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, for naturalization through the military, do I need to serve in active duty for at least 1 year or at least 180 days before it can be called honorable service? I don't think you're talking about naturalization through the military. Maybe you're talking about parole in place. For parole in place, you need to serve 1 day, which is parole in place is when a father or the wife of a military member asks for permission to ask for the green card inside the United States. Now, for naturalization through the military, the moment you are in and you're active, if it's on a time of war, you can ask for naturalization. If we're not on a time of war, I think I'm not sure. I will have to look into my books. I don't have it in my head right now at the moment. But if you Google naturalization for military, then there's 2 different laws depending on the times when you served, and you will see them there. What if there is people that are infected in the detention center or people that are sick? The people in the detention centers may get sick and they will receive treatment by the doctors who work at the detention center, and they will be transferred to hospitals if needed, and they will continue in their deportation processes. My conditional green card expires this November, but I joined the military and I start basic training next month. Should I still remove conditions or go through military naturalization? Well, it depends. As soon as you are in, I think you have time to start naturalization process. as soon as you're in, you should be able to talk to one of your JAG lawyers and ask how long it's taking right now to do military naturalization, because if it's fast, then you may get away with not filing for the removal of conditions. But if it's the same as everything in immigration, that right now it's taking so long, I would file for removal of conditions and file for military naturalization. And I'm sure at the same time they look at your military naturalization application, they will also close the removal of conditions. They will also adjudicate the removal of conditions. So it all depends on how long it's taking right now to do a military naturalization process. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with me today. I really hope that you will help me share the information in English. Like I said, I do have a show in Spanish that it's every day at 8:30 in the morning. But this show, it's only in English for my English-speaking immigrants. And so please share it. Let's share the love of God. Let's continue believing that there is a God that protects us, that there is hope. And as long as there is hope, we, the immigrants in the United States, keep working bravely, happily, and with lots of energy. So I'll see you soon. Have a good day.